Right, I'm Bill, still. Yeah, it's my 50th birthday on Tuesday, 19th of April, 2016. I'm going to be 50 years old, man. My 50th birthday on Tuesday. Very excited. 50, scary year, isn't it? Who else is 50 this year? Does any of these names ring a bell? Paul Slough, Daniel Barnes. Is Paul Slough still alive? I hope so. Do you know, me and Paul Slough, do you remember in 1994? Actually, here's a good one. Paul Slough, you still about? You're 50 this year too, aren't you, Paul? So Paul Slough, you're 50 this year too, aren't you? I've known Paul Slough since I was 5 years old. We're both 50 this year, actually. I've known Paul Slough since I was 5 years old. Really. Good friend of mine. Went to Howdale School, actually, with Dan Barnes as well. Dan Barnes as well. We went to Howdale School too. Me, Paul and Dan were in the same class. Right? Me, Dan and Paul. We were in the same class. Do you remember 1994? When we had the charge of the Light Brigade. Paul Slough, you were there. We had the charge of the Light Brigade in 1994. When the gays in 94, we marched to London to try and lower the age of consent for gay sex down to 16. In fact, the age of consent in 1994 was actually, the gay age of consent in 94 was in fact still 21. Do you know, in 1994, seriously, the gay age of consent was still 21. Paul Slough was there, I was there. We marched to Parliament. We actually managed, it was under John Major's government, actually. That was under John Major's government. It was actually the night that Derek Jarman died, Paul. Do you remember Derek Jarman? He made Blue. Paul? It was the very night Derek Jarman died. Paul Slough was there too. We marched to London to try and lower the age of gay consent from 21 down to 16. We got it down to 18 in 1994. Paul Slough. We got the gay age of consent down to 18 in 1994. Finally got it down to 16 later on, you know, that was many years later. But the night that Derek Jarman died, it was 1994, charge of the Light Brigade, how many people survived? It's our 50th year this year, Paul. Paul Slough. Remember 1994? Because we went on that march to lower the age of consent for gay sex down to 16, but they lowered it down to 18. The night that Derek Jarman died, that was. Anyway, yeah, we're 50 this year, Paul. So's Dan Barnes. He went to Howdale. We were in the same class. Dan Barnes, Paul and me. Paul Slough, me and Dan Barnes. I'm Bill, William Bailey. You know, the first day I started school, my headmistress was saying, "Won't you come home, Bill Bailey?" Done that in other films. Anyway, yes, my 50th year this year. Who else is 50 this year? Who grew up in Hatfield? How many people grew up in Hatfield? How many people went to Hatfield School? Do you remember Hatfield School? Do you remember Hatfield School? Bill Shirley. Are you still about? Hatfield School. Bill Shirley. We used to party at Bill Shirley's house every weekend, man. Do you know, the greatest fucking parties I ever had at weekends were probably at Bill Shirley's house when we were teenagers. Do you remember when we were teenagers, you know, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever, until I went to Australia? Until I went to Australia, basically. We used to party from Friday to Sunday at Bill's house. Bill's a mate of mine. He's 50. Bill's 50 this year too, isn't he? Bill Shirley? You ever heard of Bill Shirley? No, that's pretty bad. He lived next door to the 8 Bells pub. 50 this year too. Steve Murray is 50 years too. Stephen Archer, you're 50 years. You're 50 this year too, aren't you? Dan Barnes is 50 this year. Paul Slough, you're 50 this year. Clive Rhodes, you're 50 this year too, aren't you? Are you still alive? Is Clive still alive? I love Clive. He got me into Bob Dylan. I miss my mates. I do miss my old school mates. I had a great bunch of mates when we were teenagers. We got stoned quite a lot. We had a hell of a time. We had a hell of a lot of fun. When I was a teenager, sort of 15, 16, 17, 18, sort of thing, we used to congregate around Bill's. We used to basically live around Bill Shirley's house. Because Bill Shirley, every weekend we used to go around Bill Shirley's house. My mate. He used to live next door to the Eight Bells. Because his dad was a solicitor and stuff, David Shirley. Anyway, we used to go around Bill's house every weekend for about 4 or 5 years. And get fucking drunk and watch videos all night long, sort of thing at Bill's. We had great parties at Bill's. When we were teenagers, we all used to congregate around Bill Shirley's house. Do you remember Bill Shirley? Lovely bloke. Shirley, a bit of a girly name though. Where are we now? That's a good question. Where are we all now? I'm 50 on Tuesday, coming Tuesday. But where are my old school buddies? I had a great gang when I was a teenager. Seriously, when I was a teenager, I had a great fucking gang. There was Bill Shirley, Clive, Dan Barnes. I've known Dan Barnes since we were 5 years old, and Paul Salou. I've known Paul Salou since we were 5 years old. Since we were 5 years old, from Howdale School. Bill Shirley, Dan Barnes, Paul Salou, Clive Rhodes, Steve Murray was about a bit. Stephen Archer was there sometimes. Roger Deans. What happened to Roger Deans? I made a boo-boo, actually, with Roger Deans, actually. The funny thing is, I went to Australia in 1990. Until I went to Australia, we had the whole gang in Hatfield. Basically, they're all at all my mates went to university, basically. After we left school, most of my mates went to university, but we all kept hanging around Bill Shirley's house when they weren't at university, sort of thing, and holidays and stuff. Even after they went to a holiday, even after they went to university, we still went back to Bill Shirley's house, And there's a whole gang of us, Bill Shirley's house. And there's Bill Shirley, Paul Salou, Steve Murray was there quite a lot. Andy, I can't remember his fucking surname now. That was quite a lot of us, anyway. And Roger Deans was there quite a lot. And I miss Roger. I loved Roger. Fucking cunt. Anyway, yeah. But we're all 50 this year, see, we're all 50. And Clive Rhodes and who else was there? Clive Rhodes, Dan Barnes, Roger Deans, Phil. Was there Phil? I can't remember now. I can't remember some people's names, man. I can't remember half the people. Anyway, we were there. It was like sort of that was a long time ago. But anyway, we used to congregate around Bill Shirley's house, until I went to Australia. In fact, until I went to Australia. Because even when I had a girlfriend and all that shit, I still went around every weekend, because she went around her mum's and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I went to Australia, in 1990. Well, when I came back from Australia in 91, I came back from Australia in 1991. And when I came back from Australia, everyone had moved away. Strange. All of my old mates. But in 1991, I went to go and visit my old friends, my old pals. I went to Clive's house. But he'd moved away. This was 1 year after. I only went away for 1 year, guys. Until 1990, I had a great bunch of fucking mates in Hatfield. For about, almost when I went to secondary school, great fucking bunch of mates in Hatfield I had. There was Clive, there was Bill, there was Roger, there was Dan, there was Paul, Steve. I had a lot of mates in Hatfield. And we all used to congregate around we all used to gather around Bill Shirley's house, And then in 1990, I went to Australia for 1 year. I went away for 1 fucking year. I came back to Hatfield in 1991. But everyone had moved away. Bill Shirley had moved away, don't know where. Dan Barnes had moved away. Clive Rhodes had moved away. Roger Deans had moved away. All my mates had gone away. I was only gone for 1 year and they'd all vanished in a year. Bill's gone. Run like hell, you fuckers. Do you know what I mean? I was only gone for 1 fucking year. I was only in Australia for 1 fucking year. Came back to Hatfield and everyone had moved away. All my mates had moved away. It's strange. I did make one boo-boo though. I did get back in contact with Roger. And I actually stayed, in fact, I think I stayed with Roger. I think it was Southampton or something like that. 91. Probably 91. Because there's one point, I was travelling around a bit in 91. So I was still on the hippie trail or something. But I stayed with Roger for about a month or a few weeks. And I made a big, and no wait, then I moved to Holmfirth and Huddersfield in 91. And I came back to Hatfield one night. And I tried to kiss, and Roger was in Hatfield at the time. And I tried to kiss him. 91, big mistake. That was a big mistake. He was the best mate I had. He was my very best mate. Roger Deans was probably my best mate. He was my best mate for many years. He was my fucking best mate. And stupidly, because I'd come out, because I was gay, I tried to kiss my best friend. I came back from Australia in 91. And we were writing letters in 99 and stuff. Came back to Australia, and I tried snogging my best friend, my best mate, Roger Deans. I tried to kiss him, and I never saw him again after that night. So I haven't seen Roger since about 91. Because I really always fancied him, and I tried to kiss him when I came back in 91, and then he vanished. So, end of story. That was the story. I was wondering, it's our 50th. It's my 50th this year. I'm just wondering what happened. I'm just wondering what happened to all my mates. All my old schoolmates. Because all my schoolmates, all my old schoolmates are 50 this year too. I mean, Roger Deans is 50 this year. Do you remember that promise I made to you, Roger? But I hope you're still alive. Roger Deans. You remember that promise I made? In the 8 Bells. When we were about 17. I said, one day, when I've got time and I'm not busy, I'm going to burn all your skin off. Yeah, I'm 50 this year. The funny thing is, all my old schoolmates are 50 this year too. Roger Deans will be 50 this year. Dan Barnes is 50 this year. Stephen Archer is 50 this year. Clive Rose, 50 this year. Bill Shirley, you're 50 this year. Where are we now? And what have you done? What have you done in the last... Well, since I saw you last, guys. I haven't seen you since 1990. I haven't seen my old gang. Well, except I saw it when I came back, and that's where I crashed on and stuff. But I haven't seen the old gang since 1990. Well, since I went to Australia, basically. I went to Australia in 1990. Came back in 1991, and the whole gang had vanished. All my old mates. And believe me, I had a hell of a lot of mates when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. Then I went to Australia for a year. And they'd all vanished when I came back. It would be interesting to find out, wouldn't it? I wonder where all my old friends are. It's 2016. 2016. We were all born, about 1966, maybe one in 65, I don't know. But we were born about 66. So it's our 50th birthday, guys. For the Hatfield School Mob, Bill Shirley, Dan Barnes, Clive Rose, Roger Dean, Steve Archer, and all the other cunts. It's our 50th birthday this year. Happy birthday to us all. Where are you guys? Do you know I haven't seen you for 26 years? 16. No, it was 1990, so that's 1990, 2000, 26 years. I haven't seen my mate, I haven't seen you guys. I haven't seen you guys for 26 years. I went to Australia in 1990. And the whole gang fell apart. As soon as I went away, the whole gang fell apart. Everybody moved away. Went to their university towns or something. I held the gang together since we were about fucking 14, 15 or whatever. As soon as I went away, the whole gang fell apart. Do you remember the Hatfield mob in the 80s and 90s? Well, I met those guys 11, 12, 13. Probably the 80s, really. Yeah, that was probably in the 1980s and 1990s. Well, 1980s, because I went away in 1990. I used to draw cartoons on the blackboard when I was at school. It was quite funny. When I was a kid, about 13, whatever, I got well into cartooning. I used to draw cartoons of the teachers on the blackboard in between lessons. I did it at college as well, actually. I did quite a lot of cartooning at college. I was quite good at cartoons at school. In fact, when I was at school, I was an excellent cartoonist. I was probably the most famous cartoonist in Hatfield School. When I was a kid, I was probably the most famous cartoonist in Hatfield School. Do you know, people from every class used to come and to look at my pictures. Because we used to have blackboards. So this is a true story. It went on for several years. I was the most famous cartoonist in Hatfield School once. Because when the teachers were out of the room, I used to draw pictures on the blackboard. I'm Bill. Do you remember Bill? Do you remember Bill? Bill Bailey? Do you remember Bill Bailey? I actually used to draw pictures, cartoons. I used to draw cartoons of the teachers onto the blackboard. And then, it was one of those folding blackboards. So I used to fold up the blackboard so the teacher did his writing. And the teacher did his writing, and then the teacher used to turn up the blackboard, and there was a cartoon of the teacher. I was quite famous for it at Hatfield School. It's true. That's how I met Roger, really. I was about 13, I think. 12 or 13. Because I was an excellent cartoonist. And actually all the other kids, when I was at Hatfield School, the other kids from the other classes used to come to Class B to look at my pictures on the blackboard. They used to come to look at my cartoons on the blackboard. It's true. When I was a kid, people used to come and look at my cartoons that I used to draw on the blackboard. Because I always used to draw cartoons of the teachers on the blackboard. Do you remember me now? That's a true story.